The core of his collection Sam had inherited from his grandfather, Hieronymus, but he had expanded it considerably by making judicious swaps. One lock was so big that Sam had taken all day to lug it up the stairs. The hydraulic lift was long since out of order, resting to catch his breath on every step. It now lay enveloped in a dust cover in the middle of his receiving room on a wooden pallet. Another lock was so small that Sam had fixed it to a card for fear of losing it, and it could only be operated by looking through a magnifying lens and turning the tumbler knob with the point of a pin. The keys and combinations to these locks were mostly lost, but Sam had spent so much time assembling and disassembling and generally investigating every lock he owned that he had learned to open and close almost all of them without any trouble. Today, Sam was inspecting his collection with exceptional care, because it was the first Tuesday of the month, when the Lock, Key and Fob Club met at a fine hotel by the river, and Sam had been asked to share some of the highlights of his hoard at the after-dinner speech. This was a great honour. Sam was the youngest collector ever to receive it, and he had worried over his presentation all week long before picking out 5 of his most tremendous rarities. 1. The tiny lock mentioned above, pinned to its card, together with the enlarging lens. 2. The barrel lock blown out of the central bank during a safe-cracking 75 years before, which remained perfectly functional despite its great age and the force of the explosion. 3. A cunning and delicate combination lock made entirely out of green glazed ceramics, which clicked shut and popped open beautifully, but could be crushed with a stone in an instant if anybody took a mind to do so. 4. A small padlock with no key, nor any visible keyhole, which Sam found interesting chiefly because he had never been able to open it, and which remained clasped around the same continuous loop of fine steel chain as when Grandfather Hieronymus had willed it to him. 5. A very ancient piece with a diamond shank inscribed on the bottom with the name of Gazari, the acknowledged master locksmith of a bygone age himself. Sam nestled these locks in cotton wool in the pouch he slung across his shoulder and went across the hall to his sister's rooms to be dressed. Technically, he had already dressed himself, and was, for his own part, satisfied with his stovepipe corduroy pants, matching corduroy coat, and the bowler hat with incongruous ear-flaps that he had tamped down over his shaggy ginger hair. It was October, and getting nippy, and he hoped to be presentable and warm at once. Still, Sam had learned from experience that people tended to think best of him when Briony had made any adjustments to his outfit she felt necessary. So he stepped, as I have said, across the hall, and rapped, calling, "Hello, Bree, are you in?" on his younger sister's door. There was a series of crashing, and then splashing, and then yelping and fizzing noises, and about 3 minutes later the door cracked open, until it was prevented by a steel chain from going any further. A slice of Briony's face appeared in the gap, muttering unprintable words around the finger she appeared to have burnt. "Hello, Bree," Sam said brightly. "I'm giving a talk at the meet tonight. How do I look?" Briony narrowed her eyes, appraised her brother's attire, and slammed the door. From behind it emanated the sounds of splashing basins and objects being rearranged. Sam continued knocking at the door and called out, "Bree, this is an important night for me. I won't go away until you help." At last, Briony slipped out into the corridor. She was wearing an old housecoat, pied with stains and scorches of uncertain origin, over a pretty, though rather faded, blue frock. A kerchief bound her springy brown ringlets back from her eyes, and she was brandishing an ivory-handled hairbrush, with which, having knocked off her brother's bowler, she commenced to vigorously rearrange his shocks of hair. "Is father up today?" he asked, protectively slitting his eyes. "Dunno," said Briony, stepping back, slapping the hinder end of the hairbrush against her palm to appraise the overall effect of Sam's couture. Their father described himself as a thoughtful man, but one might be excused for calling him sulky, as he would sometimes stay cloistered in his chambers at the top of the house to think, or sulk as you prefer, for weeks.